Hello everyone, my name is Roshni Gorathe. Today is 18 May, and today's video topic is exception. Check the types of exception in Java. Before we start types of exception in Java, first we see what is exception. The exception means it is abnormal or unwanted event that occur during the execution of time. Because of that, our normal flow of the program can be disturbed. So that is exception. Then we see what is exception handling. The exception handling means it is a powerful mechanism by which we can handle the runtime exception, so our normal flow of the program can be maintained. There are many types of exception: SQL exception, runtime exception, IO exception, etc. Then next we see the difference between exception and error. The exception is created by the programmer, and error is created by the lack of system resources. And the error is exception is irrecoverable, or error cannot be error are irrecoverable. Then there are two type of exception: checked exception and unchecked exception. And in error there are only one types of exception: unchecked exception. So that is the error and exception. Then we see types of exception. There are totally two types of exception. First is checked exception, and next is the unchecked exception. First we see checked exception. In checked exception, firstly the object class, a parent class, or the classes, and the throwable class is the parent class of exception and error class, exception and error class. Uh, but uh, but in that the class that directly inherit the class that directly inherit the throwable class except the runtime exception, it is called a checked exception. The checked exception is checked at the runtime. There are many types of checked exception in Java, means IO exception, SQL exception, SQL exception, etc. Then next here we see the unchecked exception. In unchecked exception, the class that directly inherit runtime exception, it is called as the class that directly inherit runtime exception, it is called as unchecked exception. The unchecked exception checked at the runtime. Then next in unchecked exception, the example of unchecked exception is array out of bound exception, null pointer exception, etc. So these are the two types of exception in Java. That exception we can handle by using there are 5 keywords: try keyword, catch keyword, uh, finally keyword, throw keyword, and throws keyword. Using try and catch block, we can handle the exception, so our normal flow of the program can be maintained. Means in try block we write the risky code. Means we write the in try block statement. That statement throw the exception. Means it is a risky code. We write the in catch. Sorry, try block. Then next is the catch block. In catch block, we write the exception handling code. So in that exception is handled. Then next is the finally block. The in finally block, it execute anyhow condition. Mainly finally block is used to closing. Means if we open the any database file in try block, that file close into the final block. So finally block execute anyhow condition if the exception is handled or not. So that is all about the today's topic. Thank you.